Today we're going to be learning how to make this cute and easy witch hat. This is such a great crochet project for Halloween. Now this is more of an advanced to beginner to intermediate level crochet project. However, I will be covering the stitches with you as we use them throughout the video. And you're only going to need to know a few stitches, so it is fairly simple. Now throughout this video, I am going to be referencing my written pattern, and I'm going to leave a link for that down in the description if you'd like to grab it. It is not required, but it will make it much easier to follow along with the video if you do have those row by row instructions. For this video, you're going to need some worsted weight 4 yarn. I highly recommend that you use an acrylic yarn for this project because it holds its shape much better than alternatives such as cotton. You're going to need a pair of scissors. And throughout this video, I'm using a 5mm hook because I would like my hat to be a little bit larger than normal. But if you're following along with the written pattern, I would suggest you use a 4.5mm hook for a standard adult size. Now I will be covering when we get there how to adjust the size of your hat other than just with the hook. If you need a child size, for example, or a larger adult size, I will be telling you how to make it smaller or larger as needed. I think that's everything, and we can go ahead and get started. Okay, we're going to get started on our hat by making a magic circle or a magic ring. Now, if you have never done a magic ring before, I suggest going and watching a separate video tutorial on how to do it. I will cover it quickly, but it does take a little bit of practice to get right. So to make my magic circle, this is the way I like to do it. I wrap the yarn around 2 of my fingers. You want to make sure they cross, just like that. Then I'm going to take my hook and place it under the first strand of yarn and over the second. And I'm pulling that second strand through the first, so I have a little bit of a loop. Then I'm placing the hook back through that loop. And then I'm twisting it just like that. Okay, and then this is the tricky part. We want to secure that yarn tail, and I'm going to pinch it so it doesn't come undone. Like I said, this is a little bit tricky, but once you know it, you know it. So just practice it. Go watch a different video for the magic circle if you're having trouble with it. Okay, and to secure our magic circle, we're just going to chain 1, and now it won't come undone. Let's do that one more time. Okay, this is just the way that I do it. I'm wrapping the yarn around 2 of my fingers. We want to make sure that it crosses. I'm putting the hook under the first strand and over the second. I'm pulling that second strand under the first to make a loop. Then I'm placing the hook back through that loop, and make sure you secure this yarn tail right here. I'm going to twist it and then pinch it. And then I'm going to chain 1 so that it does not come undone. So now we can start working on our hat. Okay, for row 1, now that we have our magic ring made, I'm going to single crochet 6 into our magic ring. You can make 1 single crochet by inserting the hook into your magic circle, yarning over and pulling up a loop. Yarn over and pull through both of the loops on the hook to make 1 single crochet. Okay, we need to do that 5 more times. Insert the hook into the circle, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through 2. There's 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So now that we have all 6 single crochets into our magic ring, I'm going to use this yarn tail here and I'm going to pull it tight. So now we need to go into the first single crochet that we made and make a slip stitch. So this right here is our chain. So we need to skip that and go into our first actual stitch, which is right here. So skip over that chain and work into the first single crochet. We're going into both loops. Yarn over and pull up that loop and pull it directly through the loop on the hook to make one slip stitch. Okay, next I'm going to chain one to start row 2. And for row 2, I'm going to half double crochet 1 into each stitch for the entire row, which is going to be 6 half double crochets in total. So to make our half double crochet, we're going to yarn over, insert the hook into that same stitch that we made our slip stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop. You should have 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over and pull through all 3 loops to make one half double crochet. So we're going to repeat that all the way around. You should have 6 in total. Just like that, now we have our 6 half double crochets. We need to make a slip stitch into the first stitch that we made, this first half double crochet right here. And again, we're going to be skipping over this chain. So let's insert the hook into that first half double crochet. Yarn over and pull up a loop, and then pull that directly through the loop on our hook to make a slip stitch. Let's start on row 3 by chaining 1. Your chain 1 will never count as a stitch. Okay, so let's half double crochet 1 into each stitch all the way around, just like we did for row 2. So we're going to go into that very first stitch that we made our slip stitch and half double crochet 1, and then work all the way around until we have 6 half double crochets in total. I went ahead and trimmed my yarn tail so it's not going to be in the way. So now I have my 6 half double crochets. I'm skipping over this slip stitch and this chain, and I'm working into the very first half double crochet that I made and making one slip stitch. And that completes row 3. For row 4, I'm going to chain 1, and I'm going to half double crochet 2 into each stitch for the entire round, which is going to be 12 half double crochets in total. So let's start in that very first stitch that we made our slip stitch into and half double crochet 2. And then I'm just working all the way around. 2 half double crochets into every stitch, and I should end with 12 half double crochets total for round 4. Now I have made all 12 of my half double crochets. I am skipping again over this slip stitch and the chain, and I'm working into the very first half double crochet that we made, and I'm making a slip stitch. And now you can see that our hat is starting to widen out a little bit. Let's get started on row 5. For row 5, I'm going to be chaining 1, and I'm going to work 1 half double crochet into each stitch for the entire round. So we should end with 12 half double crochets in total. I'm at the end of row 5. I'm skipping over the slip stitch and the chain, and I'm working a slip stitch into that very first half double crochet that we made. Let's get started on row 6. Row 6 is going to be exactly the same as row 5. I'm chaining 1 and placing 1 half double crochet into each stitch for the entire round, and you should end again with 12 half double crochets in total. Okay, I'm at the end of row 6. I am skipping over the slip stitch and the chain, just like we're going to do for every row, and I'm placing 1 slip stitch into that first half double crochet that we made. Okay, let's get started on row 7. For row 7, I'm going to chain 1. I'm going to half double crochet 1 into the first stitch, and I'm going to half double crochet 2 into the following stitch. Okay, and we're going to be repeating that all the way around. So in the next stitch, I'm half double crocheting 1, Into the stitch after that, I'm half double crocheting 2, both into that same stitch. So I'm going to repeat that all the way around, and I should end up with 18 stitches total. Okay, I've reached the end of round 7. I'm again skipping over that slip stitch and chain, and I'm working into the first half double crochet and doing 1 slip stitch. For row 8 and 9, I'm going to chain 1 and half double crochet 1 into each stitch for the entire round. So you should end up with 18 half double crochets total for both row 8 and 9. Okay, I'm at the end of row 9. I am skipping over the slip stitch and the chain, working 1 slip stitch into the top of the very first half double crochet that we made at the beginning of the row. Now I'm moving on to row 10. For row 10, we're going to chain 1, half double crochet 1 into each of the first 2 stitches. So I half double crocheted 1 into the first stitch, I'm half double crocheting 1 into the next stitch, and into the third stitch I'm half double crocheting 2, both into that same stitch. Just like that. And I'm going to be repeating that all the way around. So for example, I'm making 1 half double crochet into the next stitch, 1 half double crochet into the following stitch, and then 2 half double crochets into the next stitch after that. And you should end with 24 stitches in total. So I will meet you at the end of row 10. I am finishing row 10 the same way that we are finishing every row, with a slip stitch. And now I'm starting row 11. Row 11 and 12, we will be placing 1 half double crochet into each stitch for the entire round, and you should have 24 stitches total. So let's place 1 half double crochet into each stitch all the way around for both row 11 and 12. And I will meet you back here at the end of row 12. Now I'm getting started on round 13 by chaining 1. Round 13 is going to be our next increasing round, so I'm placing 1 half double crochet into each of the first 3 stitches. So let's place 1 half double crochet into the first stitch, 1 half double crochet into the next stitch, and 1 half double crochet into that last and third stitch. And into the next stitch, the fourth stitch, we're going to place 2 half double crochets both into that same space. So that's going to be the pattern we're repeating for the entire row of round 13. You should have 3 half double crochets and then 2 half double crochets both into the same space after that. So let's place a half double crochet into our next stitch, a half double crochet into the following stitch, and 1 half double crochet into the stitch after that. And into the next stitch, I'm placing 2 half double crochets, both into that same space, and I'm repeating that again all the way around. And I should end up with 30 stitches in total. I'm at the end of round 13. I am again skipping the slip stitch and the chain and working 1 slip stitch into the top of our first half double crochet. Now we can get started on round 14 and 15, which are going to be exactly the same. We're going to chain 1 and place 1 half double crochet into each stitch for the entire round, and you should have 30 stitches in total for both row 14 and 15. I am at the end of round 15 now, and you should have ended round 15 with 30 stitches in total. Let's start on round 16. For round 16, I'm going to chain 1. I have already done that. And I'm going to place 1 half double crochet into each of the first 4 stitches. So you can see that our last increasing row, we did 3 half double crochets and then an increase. In the one before that, we did 2 half double crochets and then an increase. Now we're going to do 4 half double crochets and then we'll do our increase. So let's place 1 half double crochet into the first stitch and 1 half double crochet into the next 3 stitches after that. So we should have 4 half double crochets in total. And then into the next stitch, that 5th stitch, we'll place 2 half double crochets both into that same stitch to make our increase. And we're going to be repeating that all the way around until we reach the end of our row, and you should end with 36 stitches in total. Now I'm ending row 16 with a slip stitch, and again I have 36 stitches in total for row 16. Now let's do our 2 regular rows, which is going to be row 17 and row 18. We are going to chain 1 and place 1 half double crochet into each stitch for the entire round for both row 17 and 18, and you should have 36 half double crochets in total. And I will meet you at the end of row 18. Now I am at the end of row 18 and I'm making my slip stitch. And again in row 18, you should end with 36 stitches in total. Let's get started on row 19 by chaining 1. Then I'm going to half double crochet 1 into each of the first 5 stitches. Remember in our last increasing row, we did 4 stitches before our first increase. So this time we're going to do 5. So let's half double crochet 1 into each of the first 5 stitches. And then into the 6th stitch, I am placing 2 half double crochets both into that same stitch to make my increase, just like that. And we are going to be repeating that all the way around until we reach the end of our row. So again, I'm going to place 5 half double crochets into the first 5 stitches directly after that increase. And then into the 6th stitch after that, I'm placing 2 half double crochets both into the same stitch. And we're going to repeat that pattern, like I said, all the way around, and I will meet you at the end of this row. Okay, I'm at the end of row 19, and you should end row 19 with 42 half double crochet stitches in total. I'm making my slip stitch. And for row 20 and 21, we are going to chain 1 and half double crochet 1 into each stitch for the entire round. Again, that's for row 20 and 21. And you should end row 20 and 21 with the 42 stitches in total. I'm at the end of row 21 now, and I'm going to chain 1 and get started on row 22. You should have ended row 21 with 42 stitches in total. For row 22, I'm going to half double crochet 1 into each of the first 6 stitches. So let's half double crochet 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Into the 7th stitch, I'm going to half double crochet 2 into the same stitch to make my increase. And we will be repeating that pattern all the way around for the entire row. This is a little bit of a time-consuming project, but I'm trying to keep it straight to the point. And it is a little bit repetitive, but in my opinion, that makes it easier. Once you've got the pattern down, it's pretty easy to follow along and understand what you're doing. Okay, and I will meet you back here at the end of row 22. Okay, I just finished row 22, and you should finish row 22 with 48 stitches in total. For row 23 and 24, we will be placing 1 half double crochet into each stitch for the entire round. And you should end row 24 with 48 half double crochets in total. Okay, I just finished on row 24. I am starting row 25 by chaining 1, and row 25 is going to be our next increasing round. And since in our last increasing round we did 6 half double crochets and then our increase, for row 25 we need 7 half double crochets and then our increase. So let's place 1 half double crochet into each stitch in the first 7 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And into the 8th stitch, I am placing 2 half double crochets, both into the same stitch to make our increase. And that is the pattern we're going to repeat all the way around for the entire row. I'm at the end of row 25 now, and I should have 54 stitches in total for row 25. And at this point, we're about halfway through the entire hat, and this is what my project is looking like. So if yours does not look like this, make sure you're counting your stitches for each row and make sure you're not putting too many or too few stitches. And let's get started on row 26 and 27. Row 26 and 27, I'm going to chain 1 and again half double crochet 1 into each stitch for the entire row for both row 26 and 27. And I should end row 27 with 54 half double crochets in total. Alright, I'm at the end of row 27 and I ended with 54 half double crochets in total for both row 26 and 27. Let's get started on row 28 by chaining 1. We're going to half double crochet 8 before we make our increase. So let's half double crochet 1 into each of the first 8 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And into the 9th stitch, I'm placing 2 half double crochets both into the same space, just like that, to make our increase. And I'm going to be repeating that pattern all the way around, making 8 half double crochets and then 2 half double crochets into the next stitch to make our increase, 8 half double crochets and then 2 half double crochets both into the 9th stitch after that, all the way around for row 28, and you should end the row with 60 stitches in total. Okay, I'm at the end of row 28, and by now I think we've kind of got the pattern down. We're going to be making 2 regular rows and then an increasing row, 2 regular rows and then an increasing row. So I'm going to keep doing that until I'm happy with the width of my hat before we start the brim. For each increasing row, like we've been doing, we're going to add 1 half double crochet between each of our increases for every row that we add in increasing rows, if that makes sense. If you'd like a row by row breakdown for every single row that I'm going to do between now and the end of my hat, that is going to be in the written pattern. You can grab that again from the description down below. And I will meet you back here when I have finished the entire top of my hat. And keep going until, again, you have the width that you want and it fits around your head comfortably. And yeah, so I am on row 28 right now. I'm going to make 2 more regular rows, non-increasing, an increasing row, 2 regular rows, non-increasing, an increasing row, and so on. And I will meet you back here. Okay, I have finished the top part of my hat and I ended up finishing on row 42. The pattern itself finishes at row 46 and yours might finish somewhere else. It is totally up to you. I'm happy with this for mine. If you are following along with the pattern and using a 4.5mm hook, you might want to continue on to row 46 or add a little bit more, take a little bit away. You just want this part, the brim part, to fit comfortably over your head. Okay, like I said, I finished on row 42, but I'm going to pick up the brim from row 47 because that is the pattern that I'm following. And that is probably where you're going to be at right now if you're also following along with the pattern. So I'm picking up from row 47 of the pattern. I've chained 1, and I'm going to half double crochet into the front loop only for this entire round. And I want to place 1 half double crochet into each of the next 12 stitches in the front loop only. And then I'm going to make an increase into the 13th stitch. So let's half double crochet into the front loop only, which is going to be this one right here. Not this one at the back, but this one right here at the front. And we're again starting in the same place that we slip stitched at the end of our last round. And half double crochet, front loop only, into the first 12 stitches. Seven, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. And as you can see, I'm working into the front loop and that back loop is there. Okay, into the next stitch, we're going to place 2 half double crochets, again in the front loop only. And we're going to repeat that all the way around our row. Half double crochet 12 into the front loop only. And then into the 13th stitch, we will be making an increase by putting 2 half double crochets into that same front loop. If you are following along with the pattern, you should end row 47 with 104 stitches in total. And as you can see, we're starting to make this little lip here so our brim can start to work outwards, kind of like that, instead of continuing down. Okay, for row 48, I'm going to chain 1, and I'm going to place 1 half double crochet into each of the first 13 stitches. And we will be working into both loops this time. The only row we're going to be working into the front loop only would be row 47. So we're just going to start working normally again. 1 half double crochet into the first 13 stitches. And into the 14th stitch, we will be making an increase by placing 2 half double crochets both into that stitch. Just like that. And again, we will be repeating that pattern all the way around for the entire row. So you're going to need 13 half double crochets into both loops this time, and then a increase of 2 half double crochets both into the same stitch on the 14th stitch. And I will meet you at the end of the row. Okay, I've just finished row 48, and if you're following along with the pattern, you should end with 112 stitches total for row 48. And for row 49 through row 55, we're going to be repeating the same process as in row 48. So each row from here until row 55 is going to be an increasing row. And again, we're going to be increasing the number of stitches between each increasing stitch. So when we place 2 half double crochets into the same space, we're going to increase the number of stitches between those by 1 for every row that we add. So for example, row 49, we need to have 14 stitches between each increase. So we're going to half double crochet 14 and then increase into the 15th stitch. For row 50, we're going to have 15 half double crochets and then our increase. row 51, we need 16 half double crochets and then our increase, and so on. So we're going to repeat row 48, but add 1 half double crochet between each increase for every single row. So I'm going to do that, and I will meet you back here at row 55, or you can stop whenever you're happy with the width of your brim. So if you'd like a really large brim, keep adding rows. If you'd like a smaller brim, you can just do a few rows. This is totally up to you. And I'm going to meet you back here at row 55. Okay, I have made it to the very last row of my hat. And to finish it off, I need to do one more row. We're going to chain 1. And instead of half double crocheting into each stitch, we're going to single crochet 1 into each stitch for the entire round. So let's do one last row, no increases. We are just single crocheting 1 into each stitch all the way around. I'm doing my very last single crochet and my very last slip stitch into the first single crochet that we made. And now we are done with our hats. So all we need to do now is cut the yarn. And I'm going to chain 1 and then just pull that yarn up through the chain and pull it tight. Now we can weave in this yarn tail. And we are finished with our hat, and this is what it should be looking like. Can't even fit it all in the shot here. I really hope that you guys enjoyed this tutorial. I loved being able to walk you through it and help you out with it. If you grabbed the written pattern, thank you so much, and be sure to subscribe for the next one, and I will see you guys next time.